At the Art Complex Museum in Duxbury, you'll find a group of sculptors finding their way in and out of the wood. The show is called Wood as Muse. Arts editor Jared Bowen has more.
Prickly pencil point sculptures, history re-rendered, painted planks that pop. It's an exhibition of wood as muse, and for virtually all of the artists here, it always has been.
I have to say, it probably started when I was a kid. I had Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs, and they all had paint on them, and they were good color, and I loved them. They were fabulous.
For me, it's just building forts and backyard hideaways.
I climbed trees as a kid, and I climbed to like the top branch, and the whole tree would move, and I thought that was really cool.
For the 11 artists on view here, wood is key not only to what they work with, but how they work.
We didn't want people who were just carvers. We wanted people who used wood for its intrinsic magic. And somewhere along the way, we stumbled upon the idea that wood is it's a partner.
Andy Moorline is an artist and co-curator of the show with his partner, Donna Dodson. His sculpture stems from his interest in so-called scholars' rocks, the Chinese tradition of collecting stones to make interiors feel more like exteriors. But he says his work is also very much born of his Alaskan upbringing.
I've always tried to find ways to sculpt or express that incredible variety of white snow against gray rock, against edge, and the forms of landscape that has been so pressed by glaciers.
Dodson sculptures, she says, celebrate the relationships between humans and the animal kingdom, all tying to Egyptian art she first saw as a child.
That's been influential for me in terms of, animal-headed sort of goddess figures, and just thinking about representations of women, and thinking about work that's deeply personal and also inspiring.
When you ask, do we control the wood as the wood control the piece? And we both see it as such a dance.
Provincetown artist Mike Wright creates sculpture only out of wood that has served life.
Wood has energy in it, I think, because it was a living thing.
She scours the beaches and even dumpsters around her home in Provincetown for washed-up wood, remnants of boats, cabinets, and furniture.
I kind of have that element of the find, the hunt. And then I get to walk my dogs on the beach while I'm doing this and drag whatever it is back to the studio.
For much of the work here, Wright took her inspiration from artists that captivated her at the Provincetown Art Association and Museum.
All those modernists I would look at every day. And I thought, I could probably take something that they had painted and push it into the 3D. And that was very appealing.
Are you expert at removing splinters?
Well, I have to get a tetanus every once in a while. I think I'm due.
It's the perils of the job to work with a material that enchants all of the artists here. Because wood is intrinsically its own, even before these artists make it their own. Jared Bowen, WGBH News.
The Wood as Muse show at the Art Complex Museum in Duxbury will run through September 3rd.